Borough fans, hello and welcome back to episode number 21 of season 7 on the Stevenage Football Club podcast. And as you can see in the title, guys, A plus, because it has, unbelievably, looking at the months completed, in terms of the months that we have completed the first third of this most important season, our third consecutive season in League One, Alex Ravel's second season in the hot seat as manager with us in League One. And we have graded it, as you can probably imagine, because I'm the most passionate person about this team, an A plus. Guys, hello. Hello to everyone on YouTube, by the way, that are currently watching me. Hello to all of you. Hello to everyone that is tuned in on the Audible, Spotify, etc. I hope you're having a fantastic week, guys. It is Monday at the minute that I'm recording at 5 p.m. So hopefully you've all had a fantastic Monday. First day out of the way of the week. And as we know, it's FA Cup week this week, isn't it? So hopefully you're all having a fantastic start to the week. On the podcast tonight, guys, there is no And. And is a busy man this week. So it is just me on the podcast this evening. But don't worry, I'm kind of used to doing these podcasts on my own at the minute. Really quickly, guys, I just want to say, actually, please go and give us a like, follow and subscribe on YouTube. We are trying to build that platform as much as possible. And the plan for that, guys, is we want to kind of go from starting and seeing how we do on YouTube, and then we want to start doing live shows, which is something that we spoke about in the summer. So yeah, please go and give us a follow, like, and a subscribe on YouTube, and also go and give us a follow and a like on Spotify as well. But yeah, it's just me tonight, guys. Again, Andy's busy, but we had a great night. We did. Well, I say great night, great day, because look, we're going to get into the match in a little bit. The reaction to the fantastic point. I believe it was anyway, a brilliant point. Our first result against the top team in the division. I'm so proud of that. The fact that we got a result against another top team, something that we needed to do, and we did that. But me and Ad also had a great night on Saturday. We were lucky enough to be invited to the Broadway Ways 5-year anniversary Saturday night. It was really good. We did a live podcast with the other pod, and we were joined by Steve Watkins and Dean Thompson. A little bit of dialogue about the match and the season, and then we did a little quiz. It was a brilliant night. Me and Anne absolutely loved it. We had Anne up on the top table, bless him. He didn't say much, Anne, but he did input a bit about the match and this season and how it's going. So it was great to see Anne up there, and it was great to see a lot of you that came along to support Lou and the 5-year anniversary of the Broadway. Again, 5 years. It's do you know what's quite crazy, actually, when you think of 5 years, right? And again, it kind of goes to the point of Lou and what Lewis Collins has done with the Broadway. It's mental. I was having this chat with someone on Sunday, and a big day as well, because my NFL team, the New York Jets, won, and I'll be going back to New York in 2 weeks. I'm so excited. But I was thinking about this on Sunday. I was having a chat with someone when I was doing my running session in St Albans Sunday, and I was going through our journey at the club over the past 5 years. And it's just mental, isn't it? When you actually see, for us at the minute, we're living in it, aren't we? We're living in the current time. And sometimes I think you just have to stop what you're doing and have a look at the journey that you've had. And it's unbelievable, isn't it? Just think back to 5 years ago, right? When we got the reprieve. Well, I mean, even before that, the relegation. I mean, I remember that. I remember getting relegated and thinking, but deep down, I just didn't believe that we'd been relegated. It didn't feel real, did it? But you go from that to getting a reprieve, to staying up, to then having a season in COVID mid-table, to then everyone going back to the football. And well, oddly, when Revs was manager, and you have that season, that bad season where nothing went right for us. We went from Revs to Tisdale, the Tiz. And then big man Steve Evans comes in keeps us up 4 wins in 9. And then just the following season, automatic promotion. I mean, what on earth? Yeah, beat Villa along the way in the cup, which was just one of the greatest nights, but promotion. You then have that, and then you go up the League One, and then you spend the whole season up the top in League One, nearly make the playoffs, finish 9th. Then Alex Ravel gets made manager for the new era, keeps us up and has a consolidation in League One. And then this season, the biggest and most important season of all, becoming a top half League One team, and Alex Ravel's second season, the season where you're going to find out how good he is as manager. And we're up the top. And we've been first. We've been top like 8 times. And we're second, and we're currently joint top after the first third's complete. Like, when you actually look at that journey, it's unbelievable. And I was speaking about it to someone the other day. Like, I was saying, I think it's in my opinion, I think it's the greatest Football League story that there is. You could almost write a book on that, couldn't you, or do a story on it? So, yeah, it just brought me back thinking about Lewis Collins has been going for 5 years. You know, our journey over 5 years. You know, what's happened over those 5 years. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Now, guys, tonight's pod, again, it's just me. I'm going to be chatting about the 1-1 draw against Bradford in the top of the table clash. We're going to take a look at League One. We're going to chat about the FA Cup. It is FA Cup football, baby. The FA Cup is back. And we are home against Chesterfield. And I'm going to go through some bits and bobs online. And we're going to chat about the squad as well. So we're going to start the podcast reacting to the 1-1 draw against Bradford City in the top of the table clash on Saturday. And do you know what, guys? I think, for me, this was our biggest game of the season, wasn't it? And don't get me wrong, we had some big ones. We had Huddersfield, which was a top of the table clash. We had Luton, which we won. You know, we had Lincoln, which was another top of the table clash. But I think, for me, at home, I know that we beat Luton, but at the moment, they're not in that top bracket. And I think, for me, what was a really important thing for this team was getting a result against another top team. Because when we played against Huddersfield, although we were magnificent that day, we lost narrowly. And again, the last 30 minutes were just wonderful and didn't feel like we'd lost that day. But then lost to Lincoln narrowly 1-0, where we weren't at our best and probably didn't start with the right 11. So I think, for me, this game against Bradford was huge. It was just massive. We had to get a result from it, even if that was a point. I said to And on the pod last week, I thought a point from the game would be brilliant. If we win it, then my God. But for me, it was about playing to the top League One level as we've done and getting a result. And that we did. I'm not a little kid, guys. I'm so happy we got a result. I blooming love this team, honestly. And the management, and I love them. But we did draw the game 1-1. I've got the lineup, I've got the statistics, and I've got a lot to talk about this match because I was really impressed with this point. Fantastic result. Now, there were some changes from the 1-0 loss, or should I say, actually, the Football League trophy win last week. 5 goals again, by the way. My God, gone through in it as well. But there were some changes from Lincoln, and I think there needed to be, didn't there? You know, we spoke last week about when you play the top teams in this league, in this season, you have to play your top players. You know, if you don't, you will get punished. And look, our squad depth is the best I've ever seen. This is the best squad I've ever seen. But you have to play the top players. And that was something that Revs did this game. Well, I felt anyway. 4-2-3-1. Philip Marshall was back in between the sticks. The back line was Jasper Patterson. Luther Wilding wasn't ready to play after taking his knock. Charlie Good, Cole Pigiani and Lewis Freestone made up the back line. So exactly the same as it was against Lincoln. The midfield, Jordan Hart and Harvey White, again, just 2 have been brilliant. The forward 3, Jordan Roberts, was back into the starting 11. Finally, Jordan came back into the starting 11. We had Dan Kemp in the 10 role. Kempy's been brilliant there this season so far. The Bez started on the left, which I think was a shock for a lot of us. I didn't think the Bez was going to start. I thought it would be Chem Campbell or Phoenix. And Big Goal Reedy, of course, was back leading the line. It had to be Jamie Reid up there in this match. On the bench, Tasby Hammond, Dan Butler, Chem Campbell, Phoenix Patterson, Dan Phillips, Dan Sweeney and Ghassan Ahadme. The statistics for the match, we had 44% possession to Bradford's 56. We had 11 shots to their 4. Both teams had 2 shots on target. One of those goals went in, so one of those didn't. We had 21 touches in the opposition box to Bradford's 18. Philip Marshall made a save, and so did the Bradford goalkeeper. There were 5 corners throughout. We had 4 of them. Fouls committed, 12 to us, 17 to Bradford. Let's give you some distribution stats. I always love looking at these. Total passes in the match. We made 248 to Bradford's 314. Pass accuracy, we had 60.5 to Bradford's 64. That is in percent. Backward passes, we made 25 to Bradford's 36. Forward passes, we made 129 to Bradford's 154. Long balls was a very physical game, wasn't it? We made 73 to Bradford's 77. Successful final third passes, we had 57 to Bradford's 92. Total crosses, we made 18 to Bradford's 24. And a few defence stats. Total clearances, 40 to their 37. And yellow cards in the match, there were 6. We had 3 apiece in the game on Saturday. Right, where to begin? Yeah, I think first of all, it was a magnificent point. I thought it was a brilliant point. I said it was all about getting a result Saturday in the top of the table clash, and we did that. The game itself, it was very evident that Bradford did start the better of the two sides. And this is going to link onto a point that I'm going to talk about in a bit. The first 10 minutes, we were really under the pressure, weren't we? And to be fair, it was all Bradford. We didn't have much of the ball. And Bradford were catching us out on that right-hand side, weren't they? So Lewis Freestone, so I know it's the left side for us, but the right side for Bradford. They were playing that ball over the top and we were getting caught. And for me, as much as we love him, the Bez just wasn't tracking his man. And poor Lewis Freestone in that position had a lot to deal with in that first kind of 10-minute period. And they were overloading the ball over there, every single phase of attack. And that Nerfil, who's a very good player for Bradford, I do believe he got player of the month in September, very good player. And they were very successful down that side of the pitch. They got the goal, and it was a bit of a poor goal to concede. Again, I think it took a deflection off the Bez for the goal. And we just didn't get going. We were giving the ball away cheaply. Players were out of position. And do you know what? My dad made a really good point, and I actually agreed with it. My dad took one look in that first 5 minutes and went, he's played the wrong setup here. If you go 3-5-2 and you have 2 wing backs in this game, you just solidify that flank where Bradford are having their most success down. And what's happening is Lewis Freestone's being overloaded by both of their players on that right-hand side. They were getting down that side every single phase of attack. Equally on the other side, although I thought Jasper Patterson was brilliant, and we'll come to him later, it wasn't as bad, but it was similar. They were overloading in those areas. So my dad made a really good point. However, I don't necessarily think the system was a problem. You need those wide players to track in a game like that. And Bez just wasn't tracking that man. And the amount of times they switched the ball over to that right-hand side of the pitch, and Nerfil's through. I mean, Lou's had to come round, because as a left back, you don't want to keep that you don't want to stay out there, because you leave that area of the pitch from him to Piergiani with a circle amount of space. You have to, it's almost like you're all attached on a bit of rope, and anywhere the back line moves, you somewhat move together. So really, Bez needed to do that work, and he wasn't. But what I loved, and it showed how great our team is, how we got back into the game. We got a grip of it. We started to play our football. And after that 10 minutes, I thought for the rest of the half, we were in control. We dominated and we played some lovely football. There were many a times where we got the ball into Dan Kemp and he was able to get away and play to Reedy and play to Jordan Roberts, who I thought was brilliant. And to be fair to him, even though he didn't have the greatest game defensively, Bez had a couple of moments where he beat his man and he got a really good ball in the box. So what I loved is we started to get a grip on the match. And that was a really big thing for me. Harvey White, what a goal. I mean, he's on absolute fire this season, isn't he? Wow. I've mentioned about Harvey. I think under Alex Ravel, And it's not just about under Alex Ravel. It's the way that Alex Ravel wants to play, in the system that he wants to play. It really suits Harvey. You want Harvey getting on the ball and creating. Because he's in that two with Jordan Houghton, he's able to play a bit of a free role in that role. He's able to get forward in that role. You know, how many goals has Harvey White scored now? 3? I think he's got 3 in the Cups or something like that. He's on fire at the minute. He's been arguably, if not the best player, one of the best this season. What a goal. I mean, wow. A goal of the season, maybe? One of the goals of the season. Takes it first time, bang in the corner. Brilliant goal. But for me, it was that time in the match. We got back in the game. We got a grip of it. Bez started to track his man a bit better after we got the goal. And I felt we were in the ascendancy in the game. I thought we played some really good football on Saturday. We moved the ball really well. It was a very physical game. We had to win our battles. And we did all of those kind of nitty-gritty things on Saturday. Bradford are a good side. And I think we saw from their lineup, they were missing quite a few players. They had no Sarcevic, no Pointer, no Tilt. I think somebody else was missing as well. They were missing some players. And although we were missing Luther, they had quite a few out. But they've got a very good side, Bradford. I don't think they've got your typical top League One team. They've kept a lot of those players from League Two, but they've had a brilliant start, and you can't deny the start of it. They're a very good side, and you saw it. You know, we really had to battle on Saturday. I thought the second half was wonderful, wasn't it? I said to my brother and my dad. My brother came for the first time in first time since the new North Stand's been built, put it like that. That we need a really fast start to the second half. And we had that, took control straight away, came out, created a bundle of chances in the first 15 minutes. Reedy has one that maybe he should have took on the first time rather than let it bounce on. And Jordan Roberts has the chance of the game, doesn't he? And actually, when you look at both teams, we had the better chances, really. You know, Reedy's was a really good chance. Jordan Roberts was chance of the game. Great bit of play from Kempe and Harve. And it kind of fell to him and he headed it over. I felt for Jordan a little bit because it just flew off the turf like that. My brother actually said something. At half time, we were apparently watering the pitch. And my brother was like, why are you doing that? It's been raining. You don't need to water the pitch for. And actually, if you watch the highlights back, when Harve put that brilliant ball in, it zipped off the turf. I'm pretty sure it probably wouldn't have watered the pitch much. It probably would have been able to keep that header down and probably score. But best chance of the match. And then, look, I think it was fair to say when Bradford brought Andy Cook on, it was tough. But Good and Pidge, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant back there. Won everything. Andy Cook's a tough player. Look, we've crossed paths with Cook many a times before, but he's been doing it in League One this season as well. He's a tough player to mark. He's big, he's bullish, he wins his headers, he's a great goal scorer. You have got to, for Andy Cook not to score coming off the bench with a lot of time, you've got to have a good game back there. Pidge and Good were brilliant in that second half against him. I thought they were fantastic. Cook didn't really get a sniff, did he, when he come on? I thought the backline were great. Jasper Pattenden, man of the match for me, along with Harvey White. Brilliant. And Jasper, bless him, he had a really tough, horrid game at Lincoln, didn't he? I think we all come away from Lincoln last week and we were a bit like, oh, is he good enough to play against these top teams? He was brilliant Saturday. And I think with Jasper, he'll be better at home than he will be away. I think the type of player Jasper is, he likes to get forward as well. He likes to contribute. Look, we know that Jasper's not defensively better than Luther. Right? Look, I don't think a lot of right-backs are defensively better than Luther. You know, Luther gives you that athleticism, that aggression. You're never going to see Luther Wilding get beaten by someone, you know, rarely, to be honest with you. And we've rarely seen it this season. He's been brilliant. It's very difficult for Jasper to play to that level that we know that Luther is. He was brilliant Saturday. He was brilliant defensively. I thought he got well, really, really well. We got forward him. He supported those forward players brilliantly. Wonderful game. Wonderful game. I thought the whole backline were great. I thought Philip Marshall commanded goal really well and held some shots. For me, it was a really, really hard-fought, positive performance. And actually, again, when you look at the chances, we probably had the better of them. when you look at the kind of domination through the game, we probably dominated longer periods of it. I know Bradford had a strong spell in the middle part of the second half, but I felt that we dominated the kind of the 20-minute period to half time. And then I felt that we dominated the first bit of the second half and then also finished the game really, really well. So, look, I thought we were absolutely brilliant in it. Right subs from Revs, got it bang on the day. Again, I would probably have liked to see Chem Campbell start. I think Chem gives you that more defensive security than Bez. But Chem come on was solid. Phoenix Patterson, another game Phoenix doesn't play in. There was something that I can't remember who said it on the live podcast at Lewis Collins' event on Saturday night. And I disagreed with this. Now, Phoenix Patterson, wonderful talent, wonderful footballer, right? I think Phoenix has started, is it one game? I think he started, which was Port Vale away, right? Which he did well in that night. But again, it was a very physical game. There was a lot going on. And Port Vale started the game. They'd come out blood and thunder, wasn't it? 100 miles an hour. And I think somebody said the other night that Phoenix is only better off the bench. You know, you can't play Phoenix in those physical games. And kind of my take on it is, I think Phoenix Patterson has to be playing minutes. I look at Phoenix's technical ability for this level. He is a wonderfully gifted footballer. He's got both feet. He can score. He can contribute. He's tricky with the ball. He creates things. He opens up things for you. He's such a wonderful footballer. I just feel not playing him is almost a disservice to his ability. And I look and I see the Bez who's playing, and I think, if the Bez is going to start, I'd rather you start Phoenix. I mean, I know Phoenix has got all these goals in the Football League trophy, and obviously it's the Football League trophy, isn't it? But for me, I think Phoenix Patterson should be playing a lot more than he is. People were suggesting he's not a starting player. I disagree. When you've got a player as good as Phoenix, right, you have to be playing him, whether it's getting a good time off the bench. And I'm not just saying 10 minutes. When you've got a player like Phoenix, he needs 30 minutes. He's such a good player. Or you start Phoenix. Obviously, there's going to be games that might not suit Phoenix, but you solely play Phoenix for his attacking ability. I had this debate with Reece Donnelly right at the start of the season, and Reece went to me, yeah, but Phoenix, he's not good, defensively. I don't think you play Phoenix for that. You want Phoenix in that final third around the box where he's going to create, right? That's Phoenix's role. And for me, I'd like to see Phoenix play a lot more than he has been. I think he's a wonderful footballer. I'd like to have seen him come on in this game. Yeah, all right, it's a big physical game. But really, with Phoenix's ability in and around that box, play him. Get him on the ball. Let him create, right? That was my only thing about it. But I can see why Rebs went with Bez and Chem. Again, I think Chem probably should have been starting that game. I think Bez is a good player. I think Bez is your player that you bring on with 20 minutes to go and allow the team to have a different look about them. I think Chem probably should have been starting. I mean, look, Bez must be fucking unbelievable brag. He must be unbelievable brag, Bez, because he's starting every game over Chem and Phoenix. And it's like, what? I had Chem and Phoenix ahead of Bez personally in the pack. I know Bez has played top end League One football, but yeah, Chem's been brilliant. Phoenix's ability. But again, I want to reiterate, I thought it was a great point. It was all about getting a result against one of the top teams, and we did that. And that was the thing for me. It was getting a result. Just get a result in the match. And we proved that, look, we belong up there. We can get results against those top teams. And that was something that I really wanted this team to do. It puts us on 26 points. And we joined top. And I'm like a little kid, guys. I'm so happy. Joint top. My favourite team, my most important season. Do you know what I mean? We have to talk about the referee. I know And would have had fucking ref rant tonight. And do you know what? The Bradford fans were doing my head in a little bit, actually. They were really going for the ref. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't great for both sides. All that thin penalty shouting. Jesus. Ball hit someone in the chest. And ball. God, they're dreadful, Bradford, aren't they? Oh my word. They were really bad, Bradford. There's this YouTuber, I can't remember what he's called. I watch him every week. And I was excited to see his vlog at our match. And there was a little video where like the ball went in the box and it's hit pitched here on the chest like that, and Goody's headed it away. And they all went, ball! And he was going, the guy that was doing the vlogging was going, unbelievable. You know, this referee. I was like, mate, you can clearly see in your effing video that he's hit him on the chest, pal. And you're shouting for handball. You're literally shouting handball for everything. I saw this video on Twitter today of this guy just falling to the floor. Jordan Roberts is standing there like that, and he's falling, he's just falling to the floor. And this guy's really definite penalty. And it was like, you watch it, mate. He's just falling over. And Jordan Roberts is like that. Like, don't get me wrong, the ref was poor, and he was poor for both sides. But I don't think he was that bad to the point where they come out the game and went, well, you had the referee on your side today. You know, I didn't think he was that bad. He was bad for both sides, Allison. I mean, he's the Premier League ref, isn't he? Is he the Premier League ref? He's the guy that does the TikToks about his refereeing lifestyle or something. A load of cobblers like that. I don't know. I know And would have spent 20 minutes on this, but he was poor. There were a lot of decisions. I thought first half he was okay. Second half, I thought he lost it a little bit and kind of made it all about him as Allison loves to do, doesn't he? On TikTok especially. But yeah, those Bradford fans, Jesus. And I even saw a picture. Actually, I want to talk about this before I read out the Twitter reaction. The two Bradford fans in the home end, right now, we retweeted about this on the Stevenage Football Club podcast Twitter page, and we retweeted saying, shouldn't they have been kicked out? Now, for anyone that doesn't know about this, there's a picture circulating on Twitter of two Bradford City fans sitting in the home end. They're sitting in the main stand close to the away end. So, you know the block of white seats? They're sitting there. They have got their Bradford shirts and shows. Like me sitting here with my blue stripe Jolla away shirt on. They are literally sitting there like this with the shirts on show. And we put out and we said, oh, shouldn't they have been kicked out? Right? Probably a little bit over the top. And the amount of Bradford fans that comment on it. Do you know what? Right. So I don't blame these supporters, right? They're sitting there. They obviously haven't got a ticket for the away end and they've gone in the home end. Now, as a Stevenage supporter, if I can get a ticket to a match, I would do exactly the same thing. However, what I would do is I'd put my shirt on and I'd put a hoodie over the top and zip it up, right? You're in the home end. Now, they weren't being provocative and they were sitting there, right? But for me, that doesn't sit right, that they're in their shirt showing it loud and proud. I think the stewards should probably do better with that. And the stewards should have gone up and said, look, guys, can you zip your colours up? It's fine. Watch the game. Just zip your colours up because, you know, you're in the home end, right? And that wasn't done. Well, I don't think that was done. Obviously, we've seen the picture, but that wasn't done, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. I mean, because what that picture suggests is it just suggests now that if you're an away fan, right, and there's going to be clubs that sell out more. You know, we've got Cardiff in December. They'll probably sell out. You know, you've got Wimbledon coming eventually. You've got Huddersfield. You know, you've got a whole host of clubs that are going to sell out that way. If you're an away fan and you see that it's sold out, you've seen that picture. You just go, well, I'll tell you what, we'll just go in the home end and do what they did, and nothing will happen to you. So I think that was what we were more getting at, was that shouldn't be allowed in the state. You shouldn't have people from the away end sitting there with their shirts so blooming loud and proud in the home end. And I think that's more on the stewards to sort that out, right? Zip your colours up. And if you're not going to zip your colours up and you are going to sit there and you're going to cheer when goals in, then we'll just eject you from the stadium. Because the Bradford fan was like, I'll just leave them alone. It's money for your club. Yeah, but it's not that. It's the point of other fans will see that and think they can do the same thing if the end sold out, right? And more to the point, if you're going to allow that, what is the point of segregation at games? If you're going to just go, oh, yeah, that's fine, then you might as well just open the whole stadium up and let everyone sit everywhere. Like, the whole point of segregation is segregation, right? You can't just allow it for two people. And I don't want to sound like a bit of a killjoy, but do you see where I'm coming from, right? I think the thing is as well, Bradford put out on their website, it's sold out. If you haven't got a ticket, you don't travel. That was on their website. So, I think probably our stewards probably should have done a little bit better with that, in my opinion. And that picture's been doing the round today. But look, I mean, they weren't provocative. I ain't got a problem with it, but it would have been nice for them to zip their colours up. That's not their fault, it's the stewards' fault, isn't it? But, well, going on a bit too much. Let's go through the match reaction from the big 1-1 draw in the top of the table clash against Bradford City on Saturday. Again, magnificent point, 1-1 draw. And there was a lot of match reaction from the Stevenage Football Club 1-1 graphic. Stephen Pike said, that ref being official for Premier League games previously, my word, shocking standard, stop what could have been an excellent game. Harry said, take the point and on to the next. Andrew, SFC up the Borough, said, still unbeaten at home, keep it going, Borough. I mean, yeah, look, guys, 6 matches at home. Unbeaten, 5 wins, 1 draw. And if you want to add in the cups, that's 8 matches, 7 wins, 1 draw. Unbelievable. Danny Lusby said, a good point. White is on fire. John said, no wonder the ref was dropped. Was championship games awful. Not a fan of Revs' subs today. Interesting. I disagree with that. I think Revs' subs were fine, personally. I just think maybe Chem should have probably started in front of the Bears, but I thought the subs were fine. Kai said, what does Patterson have to do to get minutes? Take the point, but could have been more. Yeah, I agree. I think Phoenix has to start playing games, man. He's just such a wonder. I'd go far as saying I would put Phoenix Patterson in the top 3 of the gifted footballers, most gifted footballers we have here. You could put Dan Kemp in that bracket as well, right? But Phoenix, I mean, got to be playing. Life of Fry, this is a Bradford fan. You've just been gifted a point by the referee against the Chickens. So luckily we didn't get pecked, as they put up those stickers, don't they? Oh My Day said, both starting fullbacks today, too defensive, considering we were at home. Bez Labala on the left, no thank you. If Roberts needs to sit on the bench and come on, then so be it. Robbo should be our super sub this season. Not so sure I agree with that either. I think Jordan Roberts is a starting player. He's a big player. And I think you saw Saturday with Jordan Roberts how effective we are. And I think you saw the improvement from the defeat at Lincoln. So not so sure I agree with that. Bill Bundy said, shame we didn't get to see Phoenix. Game was there to win. I think both sets of fans will agree. The referee was absolutely useless. Yes, he was. 1-1, 12 matches. I'm going to take a little look at the league table. Look at that, guys. Second place, 26 points in the division. 12 matches played, 8 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. I mean, look at that, guys. So happy. 18 goals scored. It now means that we've conceded 10 goals. We are still the best defence in the division with a +8 goal difference. I'm going to go through the league table. We're really quickly going to have a look at the results from the weekend. Top 6, Cardiff City are top of the league based on goal difference. We are second place. Come on. Unbelievable. With 26 points. Also, I mean, we're joint top, really, aren't we? Bradford City, third, with 26 points. At the top 3, 26 points, 26 points, 26 points. Unbelievable. Fourth place, Stockport County, who played tonight, who could go top. They're on 25 points. Wimbledon are 5th with 25 points. And Lincoln City are only in there by a point with 24. Bolton are 7th with 23 points, nudging outside. The bottom 4, Port Vale on 13, Plymouth on 13, Blackpool on 12, currently bottom of the division with 10 points. Is Peterborough United. Let's go through the scores. Obviously, we know our 1-1 top of the table clash draw. Bolton beat Cardiff City in the last minute. on Saturday. Another last-minute goal by Bolton Wanderers. Same guy that scored as well. Is it Cozier Dubry? I think his name is. Mansfield Town ended 1-1 with Wigan. AFC Wimbledon lost 1-0 to Burton Albion. Barnsley lost 1-0 to Rotherham. Leyton Orient beat Lincoln City 1-0. Now, I know for a fact that if Andy Blair, if And was here right now, he would be taking the mick out of Mr. Jake Tong, our very good pal. Do you know what? Football's a funny game. I did say to Jake last week when we were getting grilled by Jake, football's a funny game. And I remember saying this in McDonald's. Just watch. Football's funny. You watch us get a result against Bradford and you watch you lose to Leyton Orient. And I remember Jake Tom went, no, that won't happen. And I went, watch. Because we know how tough it is to win at Orient. Leyton Orient are a very big, battling side. And we scored 3 there. We conceded 2 and we got over the line that day. And it was a real tough game and we showed how great a team we are. And Lincoln, although we lost to Lincoln, they're not the best that we've played this season. I think Huddersfield are better. I think Bradford are better. Actually, I think Bradford play Lincoln tomorrow. I think Bradford will win that. I would have Lincoln probably down as 4th or 3rd best team we've played. I think we shot ourselves in the foot against Lincoln with the starting 11 that we went with. We didn't play our best. We had Reedy out with Jordan. We didn't play our best 11. So I wasn't surprised when they lost to Leyton Orient. And I think Lincoln will lose games like that. So, yeah, not having a dig at Jake. Jake's my good pal. But I know I think And was ready to do the, has anyone seen Lincoln? Jake Tog or whatever it is. I think And was going to do that. But luckily for Jake, if you are listening, you ain't got to listen to that. Luton got their first win against Northampton 1-0 under Jack Wilshere. Blackpool beat Peterborough 2-1 away in the bottom of the table clash. Reading drew with Doncaster Rovers 1-1 and Wickham beat Huddersfield 3-0 on Saturday. What on earth is going on at Huddersfield? Falling Huddersfield. They're down to 9th now. It's quite funny, actually. I remember when we lost to Huddersfield. That was our first defeat of this season. Well, again, we were brilliant that day. We were wonderful. I was pinching myself going, what a team we've got. Phoenix just ran the game in the last 30 minutes, 20 minutes. And I remember them kind of taking the mick out of us leaving the stadium. You've lost your first game. And you look now and we're, 7 points clear with a game in hand? It's funny that, isn't it? It's funny how things come back to bite you on the bum. I think the way the league's looking, this is my favourite season. The division is wide open. I mean, what I love about this season is, look at the top 3. I'm pinching myself in air, guys. Like, unbelievable. 26, 26, 26, 25, 25, 24. Unbelievable, right? I've got the league table up here. From 20th to 8th, it's 4 points separated. The division's open. And what you find with League One, if you go back and look at the last couple of years, right, there'll always be a standout team, whether it's they don't start well, whether they eventually come, or they start brilliantly from the start. Go and have a look. You've had Derby, you've had Birmingham. But there isn't in this division. It's pretty open. I was listening to someone the other day saying, now that Cardiff's top, that they'll stay there and they'll go on to win it. I disagree. I don't think the evidence is there to suggest that Cardiff are going to stay there. Cardiff have lost 3 games. They're not the highest scorers in the division. And actually, Cardiff, right, from their last 3 matches, they've lost 3. They've lost half of their matches from 6. They've got 3 wins in there as well, but they've lost their last 3. Lost their last 3 of 6, right? So I don't think Cardiff. I don't think they're going to run away with it at all. I think this division's very open. Look, if Stockport wins tonight, they go top. And here's the thing, guys. We're second. We've got a game in hand, and we've got 2 games in hand on Stockport, Wimbledon, and Bolton. So in terms of our position, and I've said this on many platforms, and I'll stamp my flag in it, right, in the ground for this, we are not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We had this discussion about it on the podcast live the other day, and somebody went, it's still early. It's early into the season. we've only played 12 matches. No. It's not. We're not early into the season anymore. It's November this week. We're second, joint top. Early in the season is September. Mid to end of September. If you're in the position we're in and it's end of September and you've played 6 games, all right, yeah, fair enough. We've played 12. We have played a quarter of the season done and we've got 26 points. This is not a case of it's still early. This time of the season is where the division starts to mould together of what it's going to be for the next 6 months. Okay, you'll have the odd team drip in and drip out. But for the remainder of it, it's going to pretty much stay like this. Look, we spoke about the statistics of what that podcast said. 60% of teams, or I think it's greater, that start in the top 6 stay there. Over the last 10 years, the starting top 2 teams, one of them, at least one of them, has gone on to get promoted. So it's not a case of it's still early. It's not early. It's November. The clocks have gone back. It's winter. It's FA Cup this week. It's not early. Early was a month ago. If this was a month ago, if this was Orient away, I'd be going, yeah, it's still early. It's not now. It's November. So I don't think we're going anywhere. Look, we spoke about it the other day. The squad depth is the blooming best I've ever seen it. It is the blooming best I have ever seen it. That's no exaggeration. It's the best. And he made the point you could play 2 separate 11s and still expect to win with 2 separate 11s in this division. That's how great our squad is. We created a top half League One team. That was the goal. So for the next few years, to become a top half League One team. And that's what we did. We kept all the original players that we know have played top League One football. Pidge, Reed, Roberts, Good, Butler, players that have only ever done it in their career. But then Jordan Houghton, Chem Campbell, Bez, Jasper, Gass, Philip Marshall's got the ability to probably be Championship top League One, right? Phoenix, Chem, Saxon, who have got the ability to play top level. We created a top half League One team. So we're going to nowhere from that top 10, guys. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Look at the stats. 8 wins from 12, 26 points, 50. And you're knocking on the door for a playoff spot. So for me personally, I don't think we're going absolutely anywhere. There is no League One this weekend. Obviously, Stockport play tonight away at Port Vale, I do believe. It's FA Cup week. Yeah, it's back. FA Cup for this season. We drew Chesterfield at home, didn't we? We have got Chesterfield on Saturday in our first round of the FA Cup. It's at home, of course. And we've pretty much won every single home match in all competitions, haven't we? And if Jordan Roberts scores that goal against Bradford, we probably are sitting here with 8 wins in all competitions at home. But we're here with 7 and a draw. Chesterfield in the FA Cup, look, this is a big deal for us. I think because we're second, we've got that opportunity to go and enjoy the FA Cup, right? I tend to find when you're down the bottom of your division, the FA Cup can be a bit of a hindrance, right? And likewise, if we didn't have a cup run this season, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because we're in such an incredible position. You don't want our league form to be hindered. And we saw with the FA Cup in the promotion season, we got a whole host of players injured through that, right? So this season, when we are joint top, the FA Cup's important, but if we're not there by the 3rd round, I don't think it's a massive disappointment. The league is absolutely everything for it. It's the most important season. Right? We are becoming a top League One team. That's the goal. We've created a top half League One team, right? But it is the FA Cup. There are finances. And because we've got 26 points, there's that initial pressure off the league. So it gives us an opportunity to have a cup run. And I want one this season. And I think this is a really big cup tie. Chesterfield at home. Chesterfield are having a very good season in League Two. Where are they exactly? Should we have a quick look? I have a feeling that they are they 6th? 7th in League Two. They've got 23 points from 14. 6 wins, 5 draws, and they've only got 3 defeats, Chesterfield. So they're a very, very good side in the division below. And we know how difficult that division is. It is a very difficult division down in League Two. And I think this is a cracking cup tie. I think, look, we are a top League One team. At home, we've just been wonderful. We've dominated. Our style is so effective at home. We know that. And the way that we want to play and the way that we dominate matches, and especially the fact that we've got top League One level players, we dominate at home. And Chesterfield, I think, are going to come and give it a go. They're up the top in League Two. They've been having a really cracking start to the season. I think this is made to be a cracking cup tie. For me, I'd like to see some changes. Look, we still want to win, but as Andy said, those 2 separate 11s, you could play either. You'd still expect to win games. I think it'll be a mix. I think there will be a lot of the players that have been starting this season, and I think there'll be some players that haven't played a lot. I'd like to see Dan Sweeney play. I think Sweeney's been brilliant when he's played this season. I thought he was brilliant against Luton in those last 20, or when was it? Was it 20, 25 minutes or whatever it was? I thought Sweeney was great. I think he's been great in the trophy games. I'd like to see Sweeney play. Is this a game for Tay? Do you play Tay? Do you get Tay a competitive game? I agree. I think you want to play Tay in a game like this. So I'd play Tay. Maybe Dan Butler gets a game back. Give Lewis Freestone a rest. I would look to play Dan Phillips. Give Phillips a start. Do you play Lewis Orford? I would. I'd play Lewis Orford. I'd start him. I would look to maybe start Orford and Phillips together, or Orford and Houghton. I'd give Harve a rest or Houghton a rest. Is this a game that you could incorporate Jovan Malcolm in? Maybe. I would start with Jamie Reid, but I would look to get Jovan off the bench. I think for this match, there's loads of things. Please start Phoenix Patterson in this game. Play Phoenix. Get Phoenix 90 minutes in some proper competitive football again. So I would look to make changes for this match. And another thing, actually, I want to touch on Lewis Orford. Rhys Donnelly put out a tweet about Lewis Orford in terms of he should be starting games. It's really difficult for Lewis Orford because Harvey White and Jordan Houghton have earned their places. Now, Jordan Houghton plays every week. And actually, it was really funny. Dean Thompson said something that really surprised me at the live podcast thing the other night, Lewis Collins' event. He said that he didn't think Jordan Houghton was good and it wasn't for him. And look, Dean's entitled to his opinion. Of course, everyone is. But I can't agree with that. Jordan Houghton is a top League One / Championship player. He's so important. The way that he moves, just with Jordan Houghton, he does little things that you don't notice that are so important. The way he will win the ball back and distribute it quickly to get you away, and it gets you up the pitch. He'll win the ball back in an important area. He's such a big player. He doesn't play in front of Jordan Houghton. And you do not drop Harvey White for Orford. Harve's been top 3, top 2 best players this season. Hands down. He's our second highest goal scorer for midfield. Wonderful season Harvey's having. And Rhys was saying it's not about dropping, you're rotating. But that means F all. If you're a player like Harvey White and you're being rotated, Harvey's going to take that as he's been dropped. And if you've got a player that's playing as well as Harve, you play it. You play it. And all right, if there's a game where maybe Harve hasn't performed well in the next game, you can try Orford. But if you drop, it is dropping. Rotating is a soft word for dropping. If you drop or rotate a player like that, Harvey White then goes, I'm having my best season of my career and I've been dropped for a game in the league. You ruin that. You got to manage your players, right? And you certainly got to manage your top performing players. And Lewis Orford, as great as a game that he had in the trophy, it was in the trophy against under 21s, right? It's not like he's played like that against Huddersfield or Lincoln or Bradford, and you go, wow, he needs to play more, right? Orford will get his chance. but Harv and Jordan have to. Harv and Jordan Houghton have to be the starting midfield players in League One. For the Cup, I'd like to see Orford play. So maybe this is a good game to rest Harv, to rest Jordan Houghton, and give Lewis Orford and Phillips a go. All right, you keep Kemp in the 10. I think the way I'm looking at this, you want to keep Pidge, you want to keep Reedy, you want to keep Kemp, you want to keep those players in, and maybe Jordan Roberts, but then you might give Orford a game, you might give Phillips a game, you might give Dan Butler a game. I think that's the way that we'll probably line up in this match. But really important for us. Want us to play well. Chesterfield are a good side. I was just having a look at Chesterfield's team. Will Grigg plays for Chesterfield. They've got Lee Bonnis, Armando Dobra, James Berry, good players. Ronan Darcy, really good player. Luke Butterfield, Che Dunkley, really good defender. Dunkley, I think he played for Walsall. Paddy Madden, really good solid forward for the level. John Fleck. Chesterfield have got a good side, man. They've got a very, very good side. Chesterfield have. Scored 24 goals. They are the 4th highest goal scorers in the division. 21 conceded. So in the top 12, they've actually conceded the most goals. They're actually one of the highest conceded sides. So they let goals in and they've drawn their last 2 games. So really, you would hope and you would expect that this would be a cup tie that we would win in. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Cup football, want a top performance, want another win, and get through to that next round, get to the second round and see if we can get to the third. Look, I think for me, this is the best team we've ever had and the best squad we've ever had with the best amount of squad depth, the best amount of top League One level players or just top players that we've had in general. I want to see how they do against the Championship or Premier League side, right? It would be fantastic for us to play and test this team against one of those top sides in England. So I'd love us to get to the third round. I think if we get to the third round, I might be wrong. I think Luton gets moved if Luton get to the third round. Is that right? I think. Because I think the FA Cup third round weekend falls on the same weekend as Luton. I know that the second round is at the start of December. It doesn't clash with the fixture, but I think that's the case. But yeah, looking forward to it. Want to get a good performance, top performance and a win. Let's keep this incredible season going on. Right, guys. It does mean that the first third of the season or first quarter is completed. Now, we have graded the season so far an A+. Now, apologies. That is me. Andy would have probably given it an A, not an A+. You know what Anne's like. I've given it an A+ personally. We're just going to chat about this just for the last kind of few minutes of the pod. Yeah, look, joint top. How could you grade it any lower than an A+? Right? Joint top. Surely if you're top or joint top, you're giving that the best grade you could possibly give, I think. We've been wonderful, haven't we? And I've got it in front of me and I wrote it down. I don't know off by heart, but I thought I'd write it down anyway. 8 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 18 goals scored, 10 goals conceded. Unbeaten at home. Even the away form won 3 matches away. Unbelievable. I mean, when you look at this season and you see the fact that we won the opening 4 matches consecutively, we've been top about 8 times. We've played in top of the table clashes. We've seen some real dominating performances and some wonderful results. It has been magnificent. And again, I knew what the goal was in the summer. And I remember when we did the retained list and we created the top half League One team, and we created that. I remember the very first signing, Jordan Houghton. I remember at that time, me and Amy were travelling up for a friend's birthday up north, and we signed him. He was our first signing. And I went, whoa. I mean, he's a Championship player. And we created a top half League One team. That was the goal. And we've seen a product of it. We've seen the proof of the fact that we have a top half League One team. We created a top half League One team. We've seen the proof of it. Won 8 games out of 12. You know, we've beaten Blackpool. We've beaten Luton. You know, we've dominated teams like Rotherham and Northampton and beaten Leyton Orient away. And, beaten Exeter, we're beating all of those sides in that bottom half. We picked up a great point at Mansfield, picked up a great point against Bradford, which was our first result against the top team. And the only two defeats, a narrow defeats against Huddersfield and Lincoln, who are the other top two teams in the division. And Huddersfield, we were brilliant and never deserved to lose. And Lincoln, we lost because we didn't start with the right 11. We shot ourselves in the foot. So it's been wonderful. I think what I've been so proud about is we are doing the things and we're playing the level that we thought that we'd play in the pre-season, in the preparations for this most important season. I remember that day at Bishop Stortford watching the 8-1 thinking, I know it's against Bishop Stortford, but wow, what a team we've got. And then we went to Spain and you sort of thought, wow. And then Blackpool, when we were 3-1 up at that point, how dominant we were, you just saw it early on. So I've given it an A+. For me, strengths, I think the level of the performances with the level of players we've got has been wonderful. The defence, 10 goals, the best defence in the division. We've been solid. I mean, when you look at the goals conceded at home, we've conceded 2. I think we've conceded like 5 or 4 shots on target at home all season. The defence has been wonderful. I think Charlie Good having a wonderful season. I think Pidge, again, you expect it from Pidge every season, don't you? He's been brilliant. Luther's been brilliant. Freestone's been brilliant. Jasper had a brilliant game Saturday. Dan Butler has started the season brilliantly and he's only out because Freestone's been great. The back line and the goalkeeper, Philip Marshall, wonderful, have been a real strength. I think that the depth in the final third, the quality we've had. Jamie Reed's had a brilliant or wonderful start, was top goal scorer of the league at one point. But the depth in that final third, if it's not Reed, it's Roberts. If it's not Roberts, it's Chem Campbell. If it's not Chem, it's Phoenix. If it's not Phoenix, it's Kemp. If it's not Kemp, it's Bez LeBunner. If it's not Bez, it's Gassan. It's Jovan. It's, the depth in that final third is wonderful. And then the midfield, I mean, Jordan Allen and Harvey have been, arguably two of the best players of the squad. So for me, it's been the level and the depth of what we've seen this season. In terms of weaknesses, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's been some matches where we started a little bit slow in, but is that a weakness? I don't look at our squad and go, oh, that's a weak point of our squad. I don't. I think we have absolutely everything. We've got goals in the right areas. The midfield creates and is brilliant. The defence keeps clean sheets. The goalkeeper's wonderful. I don't think there's a weakness with this squad. I don't think so at all. And that's why I've graded it an A+ from the first, I say third or first quarter of the season. Right, fans, please send in your rating of the first quarter. Let's say, not the first third, the first quarter of the most important season. I've got an A+. I'm going to guess and say Andy's probably said an A, not an A+ or an A- or something like that. But please send it in. It'd be great to hear your guys and girls' grades for the first quarter of the most important season. And we move into a really important second quarter all the way up until the halfway point at Christmas. So it's going to be exciting. Guys, that is it tonight. I think I've gone through it all. We did mention about Dan Kemp's contract extension on the pod last week, which was huge news. Or did we actually? I think we did. Well, if we didn't, unbelievable that Kempy's signed a new contract to 2028. Absolutely wonderful. Also, the ladies' team, they were unfortunate to get beaten in the FA Cup against Norwich, 4-3. Unbelievable. We're winning at one point and made it 3-3, and then Norwich went and scored in the last minute, apparently. So the ladies had an absolutely fantastic effort in the Cup. And obviously, we're doing unbelievable bits in the men's, aren't we, up the top? Again, the ladies are up the top and whatnot. But it's been a wonderful time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Stevenage Football Club podcast tonight. Now, we will be back for a match preview episode against Chesterfield. We have got one set up for Wednesday, and we'll be doing an FA Cup preview. We have got one of the chaps from the Chesterfield podcast coming on, the Spy Rights podcast. So stay tuned for that. We will be back on Sunday reacting to the, hopefully, top result in the FA Cup against Chesterfield, and we'll be looking on to who we want in the draw, and we'll be looking on to Reading, because November, right? I mean, look at this month. Reading, Bolton's probably going to be off if it's internationals, Doncaster, Peterborough, which has been rescheduled, and Wigan. I mean, our November, I mean, you'd back us to pretty much win all of those matches, really, or at least get a lot of wins in them. So there's going to be an opportunity that maybe by December, which is the tough month, we could still be in the top 2 by December. And if you're in the top 2 by December, you're in the promotion race. I'm sorry to say it, but you are. So it's an exciting period coming up. But guys, again, stay tuned for those episodes. Go and give us a follow, like, and a subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Spotify. And we'll be back for the match preview episode in the FA Cup against Chesterfield this coming week. Guys, thank you so much for tuning. You've been listening to episode number 21 on the Stevenage Football Club podcast, graded A+. Have a lovely week, and we'll see you for those other episodes. Guys, at this time, you've been listening to Matt Farley, and you have also been listening to your number 1 Stevenage Football Club platform. That is the Stevenage Football Club podcast. Have a great week, guys.